everybody. Welcome to Reserve Wine Club. Hope you guys are doing all right in your homes. We're very excited. We got Ron here, Young's Market, 2 fantastic wines. I'll have Joe start pouring, and Ron can start sharing about them.
With our Reserve Wine Club stand-ins, because it can't be you guys, so we had to get some, well, whatever was available, Esther. So.
Esther's hilarious.
That should get close on my face.
Hey, that would have been good. That would have been
Disgust.
That would have been good. That would have been good. Yeah, how are y'all doing? This is actually a really great wine club. When we set this up, we came up with the idea to do Napa this month as something just fun, really. So we picked 2 wineries. We picked St. Supery, and then we also picked Flora Springs. Flora Springs started in the 70s. St. Supery started about 1979, 1980 or so. So wineries that actually have some length in the Napa Valley, wineries that come from very special places in Napa Valley as well. St. Helena for Flora Springs, and also Rutherford for St. Helena. The first wine you're going to have is going to be the Flora Springs Merlot. This is going to be 100% Merlot. It is going to be French oak barrels for about 16 months or so. There actually really was a Flora. There was a Flora Comus, who the winery is actually named after. Julie and John Comus were brother and sister, and they also had another brother as well that didn't get into the wine business along with the family, but they actually settled in St. Helena, and they settled in a property of about 156 cases or so, 156 acres or so, I'm sorry, and about 156 acres. And on that property there were 2, and what's kind of apropos today because the lights have been flickering off and on, so they actually settled in that property. There were 2 ghost wineries on the property, and it's kind of funny because the lights have been flickering. The little bell's been going off for people not coming in and out today, and Bill and Joe actually have a name for the ghost, right?
Yes, it's our poltergeist we've discovered since, like, there's nobody ever in the bar. Apparently stuff keeps happening, and so we've named him Jacques. So if you see the lights flicker or the doors ding for no reason, you can just yell, "Hi, Jacques," as we've been doing to entertain ourselves.
Yeah, so it's kind of fun. It's for fun. This is what's really cool about both of these wines, in lieu to some of the other wines in Napa Valley. Both families actually grow their own grapes. They are all estate grown fruit. Flora Springs is going to be coming from Oakville. It'll be coming from Rutherford and also St. Helena. So if you kind of look at the map of Napa going south to north, basically Oakville would be here, Rutherford would be dead in the center, and then St. Helena would be above. And one of the really cool parts about it is that they say that the second winery, so the 2 wineries that were on the property of Flora Springs when they purchased the property, one of them actually turned into John Comus's home. And they would actually have their national sales manager meetings, and the guys would actually go and stay at John's home. There were rooms there that guys did not want to stay in, guys did not want to sleep in because they would say weird things would actually happen at night. Just strange things, and there was one guy that would not stay in one room, period. So the other one, they actually transformed it into the winery itself for Flora Springs, where they do all the red wine. They now have a separate product or separate facility to do the white wine in, so they're really driven across the board on what they do. It's at 100% Merlot. This was actually Flora's favorite wine. She just loved the way that the fruit was in this wine, how approachable it was, and just the fruit flavors that came out of it. What are you guys getting out of it?
Great, good.
Well, it's what I liked about it, because for Merlot, it's light bodied, but it has so much flavor to
Yep.
it, but it's not heavy.
No, chocolate.
Yeah, I got chocolate.
Yep.
How about you, wine club stand-ins?
Well, now that I'm part of Reserve Wine Club, I'm getting dark chocolate marshmallows and
Dark chocolate marshmallow.
graham cracker. That's what I'm getting. Which may or may not be written in the notes. But
So
that's what I'm
basically,
also
you're
getting.
tasting s'mores.
No, that's what the notes
S'mores.
I'm reading
Schmores,
out.
exactly. You're tasting
Also
schmores.
my just saying. I don't know. I'm noticing the blueberry, blackberry.
So
You're getting more of the berry notes to
blackberry,
it.
the blackberry, the blueberry. Yeah, it's so
That's not like chocolate.
and it's it definitely does have that chocolate,
Yeah,
that
that's what I get.
mocha characteristic to it, really. One of the crazy parts about it is that what this wine itself, the winery itself started in about '78, and if you think now, where Flora Springs is not they don't produce a lot of wine. They own a lot of property and they sell a lot of fruit off to people, but they do not make a lot of wine. So just for instance, this Merlot, they make about 5,000 cases of it annually, and that's what they make. In 1978, when they bottled their first vintage, they actually produced about 200 cases of wine all in, and that was all they produced.
Wow.
So if you think about, jumping from 200 cases to where they are now, and they really do strive to be pillars of the community. I mean, both facilities are definitely that way. Both guys are definitely the pillars of the community. And if you're in Napa, the tasting room for Flora Springs is beautiful. It's the fun-shaped building, and it's a beautiful place to taste. And then St. Supery, when you go to St. Supery, which is right on Highway 29 in Rutherford, when you drive by the St. Supery building, they actually have an old Victorian home that is, gosh, I want to say it's about 130 or 140 years old. That's still standing. It's on the National Registry of Historic Places, and it is a beautiful little place to go and taste wines as well.
Now, what would you put with this for dinner?
With that, I would.
Would we go steaks?
You could definitely go steaks. You could go. You could actually even do burgers. You could do steaks. You could do ribs. Maybe like a little sausage and pepper. Maybe a little. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you think that would stand up to spicy food?
Yeah,
Because it's got
yeah.
a little bit soft. Not,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think a little bit of spiciness I think would definitely go a long way with that. I mean, it's not an overbearing, it's not an overtannic wine. It's
No,
got good
very
structure to
smooth.
it. Yeah, really smooth and really well thought out in my mind. So
Right.
yeah.
And both 16 vintages.
Yeah, both.
Yeah, they're both 16s.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll pour the St. Supery now. This one, I noticed this one has the Napa green stuff on it, the land and the winery.
Right.
So this one's.
So the Napa Green, as both facilities basically do, they do alternate energy sources basically. So you've got solar power or solar panels at both facilities. You've got reclaiming the water. You've got all kinds of different things. So yeah, so Napa Green certified. We'll kind of show you on the back. Well, when you come in, you'll be able to see the back of the bottle, but it's Napa Green certification, which is something that the wineries do to make sure that they are providing. Oh yeah, go ahead.
That's right there. Napa green certification.
So the Napa Green certification. So yeah, it's different. And if you're really fully interested in what all goes into Napa Green, I can get Joe and Bill the complete information on the Napa Green stuff, but it's just basically taking care of your community, taking care of your soils, not using pesticides. It shouldn't be confused with organically farming or certified organic, but it is a certification that they actually have in Napa. Paso does, let's see, what is Paso? Paso has their own certification. Oregon and Washington have Salmon Safe, which actually has to do with the river systems there. So each one has its own certifications.
We're terrible. If I might also make a slight observation, doesn't Reserve Wine Club normally have charcuterie, some kind of...
Not always.
Not always. No, not always. No.
Really? What percentage of Reserve Wine people don't get some type of nourishment while
You mean what I provide or what they get?
What you provide, you always have like a little
I don't always do that. I only do
Chocolate
that.
cake.
I don't always do that. Sometimes it's a special present.
Oh, I've missed the boat, Bill.
Yeah,
Yes, oh, I've missed
Esther,
the
this
boat.
is why we don't allow you in Reserve Wine Club. You don't know what's happening.
I bet you've got cheese and crackers.
Sometimes.
Depends.
I don't know.
Not always.
It's been spotty. Yes.
I do it a lot just when I think that the wines really need the food with it. I don't think either of these wines, I think both of these could be the cocktail wines that you just pop and drink and go.
Yeah, this is super smooth.
Okay.
When it's easy.
No, I will concur.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
thank you.
You're welcome. You all did a reasonably good job this month
Thank
without
you.
me.
Thank
Well,
you.
yeah, because
So-
it's still warm. It's still springtime, so I still kind of like that these are still a little on the lighter side. The
Yeah, they're
lighter
not dying
bodied
towny.
side.
They don't
Right.
need food.
Right.
Right.
They don't need it.
They're plush wines really,
Yeah.
and they're wines that you can either pair with food, or you can set out on the patio or the deck and drink them all by yourself, or by, well, I just
all
slipped,
by
all by myself. Sorry about that. Sorry about that. But so for St. Supery, and I apologize, I said 79 for St. Supery when they actually opened. They actually opened in 89. Was the year that they actually opened up for business. The Scully family, which the Scully family came from France, and then it had been making wine in France since 1920. They were actually on Corsica, and they were making wine on Corsica. Was the last place for a while. In the very beginning, when we were representing St. Supery, they also had a Rhone property as well, and made Chateauneuf de Pape and Côte de Rhone. So in the beginning, we would actually take out their Rhone wines, and we would actually take out the St. Supery wines almost on the same day sometimes. They sold that property off, but it's kind of cool because the family started searching for a spot that they really wanted to work with back in the mid 70s in California. They wanted to get to California. They wanted to make wine in California. They settled on, I shouldn't say they settled on Napa, they chose Napa. They got the Dollarhide Vineyard, which is on the northeastern foothills area, or in the hill area of Napa Valley. It wasn't until they purchased the property in Rutherford, I believe it's about 23, 30 acres, right on Highway 29. And it's funny because they're actually next door neighbors to Pejus, which we just had Pejus for the other wine club this
Well,
month.
and we did December.
Yeah, with
December.
oh, that's right. You
Yeah,
guys did.
we did, yeah, we
So
did
yeah,
December.
so you almost have to go, if you go to Pejus, you almost have to go to St. Supery because they almost share a parking lot, and they're both fantastic places to taste
Yeah,
wines.
no
That's right. I
wonder.
forgot
Yeah,
about
no
that.
wonder we like their wines
Yeah,
so much
yeah.
if they're grown in the same area.
Yeah, they're the same area. So this is going to be sourced from both the Rutherford estate and then the Dollarhide Vineyard. The Dollarhide Vineyard is just an amazing, magical place. On top of growing grapes there, they also grow heirloom fruit. So I believe they have about 157 different varieties of different fruits that are actually grown there, peach, plum, those kind of things. And what they do with that is that fruit actually goes into the restaurants in Napa Valley. They actually sell the fruit to the chefs in Napa Valley and provide them with fresh fruit at the time. This is going to be 85% Cab, 6% Petit Verdot, 3% Malbec, 3% Cab Franc, 3% Merlot, and hopefully that adds up to 100. And then 19 months in French oak barrels. So both of these are going to see time in oak. This is just a little bit more in oak barrels, 19 months. And again, all estate grown fruit. And why I keep stressing that is when you grow your fruit from the estate, when you control everything that goes into your fruit, you're just, you start from the ground up essentially. So you're picking the rows of fruit that you want to work with for the wines in particular. You're choosing when it's time to drop fruit, to green harvest. You're choosing just everything, your canopy, how much sunlight the grapes are seeing, when it's time to pick. And the really beautiful part about it is that these guys both have dedicated crews that are dedicated to the winery and dedicated to the production of the wine. So a lot of wineries will have their winery crews and those guys, but a lot of times that they'll actually hire people to picking crews that'll go out and pick. And I've actually been with winery owners when they've been arguing with a picking crew who wants to go and pick somebody else's fruit that day, and they know that they already have a set day to pick the fruit for them. And it's very vital that you pick that fruit when you say it's time to pick that fruit. It can almost make or break. I mean, when you think the fruit's ready to be taken off the vines, you have to go with it, and you have to go with that feeling. So it's really key in making wine and knowing what you're doing. And both people have done an amazing job. The Flora Springs, the Garvey family, which is Julie's family, the Garvey family is more in charge of vineyard management, and the Comas family is more in charge of selling the wine, overseeing making of the wine. But they work in tandem with each other, and it's really cool. John Comas he's a character. He actually lives in Arizona for part of the year, and he's a super fun guy. It's great to hear him tell stories about Napa and back in the 70s and how things have changed a lot. But it's still Napa, and they're still beautiful wines.
Absolutely.
All right. Well,
Do
thank
you
you guys. Yeah. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, do you get s'mores on this one too, or?
No
Pepper.
s'mores. Pepper.
It's got a little pepper.
I'd
Oh,
recommend
cassis.
this.
Cassis.
I actually like this one because it doesn't, I don't like the big fruit. My preference, not the big fruit Napa cabs. I think this has got a lot of restraint. I'm going to use big words.
It's more elegant, it's more
It's
restrained.
elegant, it has
Elegant
restraint,
and restrained.
Words
Reminds
that
you
are
of me.
attributed to me, know me.
Has anybody used restraint? For Esther?
Restraint with Esther, no,
No,
those are not
no.
normally two words that go
Classy,
synonymous.
elegant. Maybe not restraint, but classy and elegant.
All right, guys. We're
right.
going sideways fast
All
on
right.
this one. No, thank you guys so much for tuning in, and be safe out there, and hope you guys enjoy.
Can't
the
wait to
wines.
see you back.
Yeah.
Yep,
We can't wait
we'll
to
be
see you
here
back.
waiting for you.
Yep.
Cheers.
Cheers, be
Cheers.
well,
Cheers.
blessings.
Cheers.